Sudden death is a weapon that genuinely surprised me. I'm someone who doesn't really like to use shotguns in video games, but I think this void aggressive frame shotgun from the Prophecy dungeon in the Rite of the Night activity has me changing my mind. Today, we're going to be breaking down the stats, the origin traits, the perk options, as well as some perk combinations to keep an eye out for, and what I think this shotgun could be useful for. So watch to the end of this video, and if you find it useful, leave a like and hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out a lot. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the stats on a sudden death. At base, it's really nothing special stat-wise. I mean, getting beat out by Ragnhild D in pretty much every stat, and it's a similar story when we compare it to Found Verdict and the Comedian. So at base, on a sudden death, we have an impact of 80, 24 range, 26 stability, 24 handling, 32 reload speed, and 30 aim assist. We're sitting with a recoil direction of 74 and a base mag of 5. This is a void aggressive frame shotgun, which means intrinsically it's a hard-hitting, high recoil shotgun, and it does gain increased rate of fire after each kill, which will help out a lot when it comes to the lack of stats here. Having a barrel perk like Smooth Bore giving you that 15 bump to range, or Small Bore granting you +7 to stability and range will help out a lot. As far as what mag perks I recommend, Assault Mag is #1 for me. It's not only going to give you a +5 to your RPM, making this weapon fire a little bit faster, but you're also going to be getting a massive +15 increase to your stability as well. This weapon kicks, so having more stability is not going to be a bad thing here. Accurized rounds and Light Mag are also two pretty solid options, but if you can help it, I would just rock with Assault Mag on a sudden death. As far as the origin traits go, all of our Rite of the Nine weapons come with the origin trait Gravity Well. It states reloading this weapon automatically gathers nearby ammo. That will trigger within a 16-meter range of the player. I did make a video going a little bit more in depth on all of the god rolls for the Rite of the Nine dungeon weapons and the origin traits for each set of dungeon weapons. I will leave a link down in the description for that video if you do want to check it out. But getting into some of the main reasons this weapon is so good is the crossing over origin trait. Crossing over states this weapon has increased range and handling for the top half of the magazine, while rounds with the bottom half of the magazine deal increased damage. Now these increases are not a static value. It scales linearly based on how much of the magazine you have left. So for the first half of the mag, you're going to start at a +10 to range and stability down to +5 in both stats. Then at the bottom 50% of the mag, you are scaling your damage up from 1.5% to 3% extra damage. I think that this is the right approach to making things balanced. If you veteran players remember how much damage the Eye Close shotgun was doing when it first came out, this will make more sense to you. For the new lights, all you really need to know is that this method is more of Bungie keeping things in check, so you aren't just mowing down bosses with shotguns anymore, especially going forward with the tier system in the Edge of Fate. Now, what sets this weapon apart from other aggressive frame shotguns is the perk pool on offer here. Let's go over slot 3 and 4, talk about a few of the standouts in each slot, then we will get into why this weapon is built different. In perk slot 3, we have 1-2 Punch, Threat Detector, Discord, Envious Assassin, Slide Shot, and Repulsor Brace. Here, the standouts are going to be 1-2 Punch, obviously, which states hitting an enemy with every pellet in a shot increases melee damage for a short duration. The crazy thing about this perk is that it's a 100% damage increase to your melee damage. There are some exclusions, unfortunately, like Withering Blade, Consecration, those aren't going to trigger this perk, but if you just throw a punch out, 100% more damage is 100% more damage, you know what I mean? Threat Detector is going to be a great option if you are looking for something to boost your stats even more. This perk states increased reload, stability, and handling when enemies are in close proximity. So if you are within 15 meters of one enemy, you're going to get a +15 stability, +18 reload speed, and +25 handling to this weapon. If you are within 15 meters of 2 or more enemies, you will gain +40 stability, +60 reload speed, and +100 handling, maxing out the stack, which essentially turns sudden death into a completely different weapon. Repulsor Brace is another option in this slot that I think works very well, granting you a 45 HP overshield for defeating void debuff targets if you want to prioritize survivability over raw damage. And for you PvP weirdos out there, Slide Shot is also present here. Slide Shot states sliding partially reloads this weapon's magazine and temporarily boosts range and stability. Slide, refill 15% of your mag and get a +20 bump to your range and stability while you're at it. Great choice for both PvE and PvP, but I know you Crucible guys are going to be going crazy for this one. Moving on to perk slot 4, we have a few very good options and an absolute must. In perk slot 4, we have Closing Time, Paracausal Affinity, Destabilizing Rounds, Redirection, Opening Shot, and Trench Barrel. Yes, the #1 perk in this slot is Trench Barrel. This perk states after a successful melee hit, this weapon gains increased damage, handling, and reload speed for a short duration or until 3 shots are fired. So starting with that stat bump, we're getting plus 30 reload speed and handling. As far as the damage goes, this is granting us 50% increase in damage for 5 seconds, or until you fire 3 shots, or until you stow the weapon within those 5 seconds. Where I am most excited to use this weapon is when the Edge of Fate is released. We will have an overload shotgun in the artifact, and being able to bump the reload speed and handling on this weapon is going to make this weapon so deadly against champions, especially in endgame activities. Another perk I would take a look at in this slot is going to be redirection. This perk is going to feed off of getting kills on weaker enemies. It states damaging rank and file combatants increases damage against more powerful ones. This recently got a rework to make it a little bit more of a viable option in more ad dense activities. It stacks up to 30 times now instead of 20, and when you finally do hit a higher tier enemy, it will consume 3 stacks, grant you a 33% damage increase on those hits. A great option for ad clear and boss damage for sure. Paracausal affinity and destabilizing rounds are also 2 great choices here. I highly recommend the repulsor brace destabilizing rounds roll for prismatic builds. For PvP, you guessed it, opening shot is the go-to perk here. For you new players out there, in PvP, slide shot opening shot is going to be really the only role that matters in the Crucible. You could make an argument for threat detector and opening shot, but that's more of a preference thing. And at this point in the video, I do feel obligated to shamelessly plug my god roll video that I made on all of the Rite of the 9 weapons a couple days ago. I said it earlier, but for those in the back, there's a link down in the description, as well as a card popping up now in the top right hand corner. Now, as far as what perk combinations you should be hunting down on a sudden death, I am always going to advocate for repulsor brace and destabilizing rounds. It's a shotgun, you're always going to be in the thick of the action. Why not try to survive a little bit longer? The obvious choice here though is 1-2 punch and trench barrel. I think that it speaks for itself. I'm absolutely going to be bringing this role into the Edge of Fate endgame and mowing down bosses with it, and can't go wrong here. And for PvP, I think that slide shot and opening shot is going to be on everyone's list, and another option again would be opening shot and threat detector. I will not be playing too much PvP here in the near future, but for those of you who do, these are your 2 roles. After using a few different perk combos on a sudden death, I think this Void of Aggressive Frame Shotgun is so solid. Great for clearing a room and great for dealing a ton of damage. Again, the thing that sets this weapon apart from all the other shotguns in the archetype is the presence of 1-2 punch and trench barrel. Other than the original Ikelos shotgun, this is the only aggressive frame in the game that can roll with these 2 perks together. If I were to rate this weapon, I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. The lack of the base stats here is kind of a bummer, and yes, the perk pull is stacked. I won't deny it, but I really wish Frenzy would have been an option on this weapon. I have a comedian with 1-2 punch and Frenzy, and that thing is an absolute monster in PvE. I don't really use it too often. It kind of just collects dust in my vault, but that is a very solid shotgun. And having Frenzy available on this, granting you that damage increase when you're in combat, which it's a shotgun, you're going to be in combat, would have been a nice addition. With all that, Guardians, that has been my review on a sudden death, the Void Aggressive Frame Shotgun from the Rite of the 9. And if this helped you find a role you want to hunt down, go ahead and leave a like so one of my other reviews shows up on your suggested page on YouTube. Get subscribed so you never miss another video, and check out my partners at W Energy to get 10% off your entire order when you use code TREY9 at checkout. I'll see you guys at the tower.